What's up everybody, Goji Boy here, and today I am bringing you a review on the SH Monsterarts Godzilla from Godzilla Minus One. Let's get started. Alright, so here we have our SH Monsterarts Godzilla Minus One Goji right out of the package, and this guy is just spectacular. I mean, it's just amazing. I love this figure, and I was very fortunate to come across it at a local GameStop. Surprisingly enough, I was hinted at by a page on Instagram, AZ Toy Hunters Guild, stating that I guess they were popping up throughout GameStops around Arizona, and I happened to go into one of the shops here close to home, and they had a single one at base price. So if you missed out on him, definitely check out GameStop, just because, well, unfortunately, I did not pre-order him, and definitely missed out from Toys in a Box and Big Bag Toy Store. But, well, they had a single one, so here we are. And this guy does not disappoint. As far as I can tell with mine, he has no QC issues, at least not that I have any problems with. I initially thought that paint apps right here on the face were QC problems, but coming up with pictures online, I think this is definitely, it's meant to be that way, especially if you've seen a movie with a specific scene that takes place, so I'm not going to fret about that. And as far as I can see with mine, he doesn't have like wonky eyeballs. His eyes do seem to be looking straight, so I am very pleased with him. Okay. In regards to our articulation, this guy has a very segmented head to neck to body ratio right here. Like, it's just, there's joints upon joints upon joints. It's crazy. But his head is on a ball peg, and then he's got another peg down here that allows for some rotation before it does hit the chest piece. I want to say there's at least like three different ball pegs that I can tell. They all kind of work together, so it's very hard to tell, but regardless, he can look up quite high. Being very careful, especially because these little plates, once I show them, these three plates right here that are closest to his head can wiggle around ever so slightly, which allow his head to definitely tilt back more than you'd expect. And you can look down quite nicely. His mouth does open. He does have a tongue on a little peg that can move up and down. And one thing that I really love about this guy is that when you open his mouth, you can see like the cheek meat right here that does come open quite nicely on both sides. It just looks so sick. So cool. And as far as I can tell, when it comes to the other Godzilla figures that I have, none of them have that particular little detail slash feature. I guess unless you're counting Shin Godzilla, he does have a huge mouth and have those like cheek pieces, but this guy is just, it looks so subtle, so nice. All right. His body, his chest, should I say, does have a joint right here as well. Mind you, this guy is stiff, but I'm gonna try my best to show what he can do. So he does have a ball peg right up here in his chest area, which then leads into another one down here towards the belly, which you might be able to see moving this little floaty piece that connects this belly area towards the crotch zone. So this is a separate piece that blends them together, all moving in unison. So with that, it'll allow him to, along with his legs, when you move his legs down, it'll allow him to really get some nice range of motion. His shoulders do allow him to move up that high, which, having messed around with this guy as well as some of the other ones, I feel like this guy definitely has the most shoulder articulation. Like he's pretty much T-posing right now. I feel like my other Gojis can't do this at all until like their arms just straight up pop out. So this is really nice, and they can go all the way around. He's got some bicep swivel up in this area, as well as this lower portion that connects to the elbow, which hardly moves, and his hands are on ball pegs, which I find to be funny considering he doesn't have extra hands. And I say that because some other Godzilla Monsterarts do come with at least an extra set of hands, but this guy comes with nothing. But more on the final thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna leave him in T-pose status. His legs do rotate all the way around. Just be careful. Don't want to have any paint chipping. You can go out quite far, actually. You can do a very nice split. There we go. And when it comes to the knees, they do have some articulation there. Another little floating piece right here connecting that thick leg to those knees and calves. And that's pretty much what's going to give you like the ankle movement, really. It's just posing his legs from up here down on this portion and his movable toes to have some good stance. And yeah, he does have toe articulation on these 3 toes, up, down, side to side. None of the other figures that I have for Godzilla have that. This might be the first, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is pretty neat. Alrighty, and his tail. I want to say pretty much every piece of his tail is just flat out segmented, allowing for some crazy range of motion. So you can really bend it and give it some nice shapes. There we go. Looks like a little S shape. But yeah, solid tail, pretty thick throughout as well. It doesn't really narrow down in comparison to some other Godzilla designs, but the fact that it's so segmented and moves flawlessly is just insane. Love it. All right, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and move into our size comparison. We're kicking things off with the size comparison. We have our -1 Godzilla with the SH Monsterarts King of the Monsters 2019 Godzilla here. We're gonna do let's do a profile sort of stance. That way you can see the plates. You see dorsal plates pretty different in comparison to this guy. These are much thicker in nature. His tail does seem to narrow out and get thinner as well in comparison to the -1, which seems it actually does stay quite thick throughout. Swap them out, and next we have our Godzilla 2000 special color version. Really nice pronounced spikes on this guy, also quite different in comparison to -1. Tail as well. Next, we have our Godzilla 2002. There we go. Front view, side view. Also very different when it comes to the spikes. And this guy definitely has a much slimmer tail coming down towards the end in comparison to -1. And lastly, when it comes to the size comparison for today, we have the SA Birth version of Godzilla. Profile, much more classic look for this Goji in comparison to our -1 right here. But overall, -1 Goji does fit in quite nicely with the rest of them. And let's go ahead and move on to final thoughts. When it comes to this Godzilla figure, he's spectacular. Hands down, he's probably my favorite Goji out of all the ones that I have. He just looks awesome. The paint applications, the articulation, the way this guy just looks on the shelf overall, chef's kiss. I will say, he does not come with any accessories. No display stand, no extra hands, nothing. So, with that, and the fact that he is, I believe, base price $140 before shipping, taxes, etc. It's gonna be up to you if you want to drop that kind of money on this guy. I, as a collector of Monsterarts and just Godzilla figures as a whole, really wanted this guy. And again, I missed out on the pre-order, missed out on the initial release when shops had him online, and luckily enough, I came across him at GameStop, so of course I was gonna cop him. And from what I've seen on eBay, people are charging 2-3 times the price. So if you come across him, definitely get him. Don't miss out on him. But again, no additional accessories, so that's a real bummer. With that being said, I am truly grateful to add this guy to my collection as a whole. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment down below. My handle for Instagram, gojiboy93, is also down below, where you can find pictures of this guy as well as other figures throughout. And see you guys next time. Peace.